Hello, welcome in. So, this is just gonna be a basic stream because I cannot make a fucking video to save my life on how to set up StreamRobot, how I do my voice-activated commands, how to kind of run through the very basics of that, and then I'm just gonna download the VOD, or let somebody else download the VOD, and let them edit the video. That's all I'm gonna do tonight. So, everything that I do voice activation wise and kind of going forward there, I do all of that with StreamRobot. It is very versatile, it is very customizable. It's not the easiest going into it, but, you know, it's really, really, really worth it to learn. So, literally just, it's streamer.bot. That's it. You just get the newest version. 0.1.10 is the newest one right here. Just go for that one. Get it downloaded, get it set up. I like how this is the time the cat starts meowing in the back. She's been quiet all day. So we're gonna get that set up. Put it wherever. It's fine. And when you first start it up, this is more or less what it's going to look like. This is more or less where it's going to be. It always opens up to the viewer list first. So, nothing you can really do here is it won't be connected to anything. So you have to go to your Stream apps. And at Stream apps, you can see I use OBS. It does also support Streamlabs Desktop, which if you're using Streamlabs, why? Why? No. The OBS. You right click in this blank space, you just click add. Give it whatever name you want. Mine's OBS. A lot of people use like different OBSs or different software to get, you know, different streams going or different accounts. So you can use whatever name you want. You can leave the host the same. The port, just leave that as is. Enter your password. Make up a password, it's fine. Auto connect on startup, self-explanatory. Whenever you just start up StreamerBot, it'll just connect for you. Reconnect on disconnect. If something happens, if something lags, freezes, something goes wrong, this is what is going to just kind of reconnect for you. Otherwise, you have to come back to here, Stream Apps, right click, hit reconnect. I'm not going to disconnect because I'm already streaming. Now, when you first get it connected, it will say disconnected, so you have to connect it. And it'll connect on that one on its own. Make sure that your status is connected. You just make sure from there. It should do it on its own if you go through that. Now, you will also have to go to platforms and accounts. You're going to have to sign into Twitch on your main broadcaster account. Literally just will say connect, sign in, you got to authorize it. The same thing as you do with any Twitch plugin. And you can also set up a bot account. Make sure auto reconnect is on if you do both. If you set up a bot account, you just make a new account on Twitch. Give it whatever name you want. Hit connect on that. You'll have to re-sign into your other account and make sure auto reconnect is on here. Fair word of warning, if you use Streamlabs bot, this bot will kill it. This bot will straight up disconnect from that account, because Sleep Paralysis Westy was on my Stream Elements bot, and when I moved over to StreamerBot here, it can't do both. So if it's on this one, the Streamlabs bot is gone. So you can make a new account, or you can have like 2 bot accounts. Your choice on what to do with that. I just use one. Like I said, just be careful of that. And once you have these connected, all 3 of these, the stream apps, the platform, if you're using a bot account, you don't have to use a bot account. You can just use your own. A lot of people just use their own, so the broadcaster just pops up. That's kind of what that's for. And once you have all that, you should be able to see all this. This is just your standard viewer list. I see bots in here right now. I'll get you later anyway. So once you get the StringerBot connected, you can go into actions. And I already have actions set up for all these different events. Now, let's say we're going to do a whole new one right here. So I want to add, we're going to call it test. You can put it to a group if you want, or you can make a whole new group so it can just be the test group. We'll go into queues in a little bit. You can leave all this just unchecked. Make sure it's enabled. You hit OK. So we have a blank action. This action does literally nothing. So we have to tell it what to do. So if we right click, you can see we can add sub actions. Make sure to move that over a bit because this list expands a bit. And the list here is quite extensive. So for very, very basic stuff, like for Twitch stuff, if we want to send a message to the channel, what message you want to send? This is a test. That's the message you want to send. This is a test. Well, now it has a sub action, but there's no way it can actually do that. There's not really a way it can send that to the channel yet. We have to give it a command. So in the commands tab here, you can see I have all my other commands in here. These are all the chat commands you can actually do right now, and they all still work. But we're going to add a new one. This one is going to be !test. Only moderators can do it. If you leave it blank like this, anyone can do it. So we're just going to throw moderators only. You can also set to individual users can do it, but you know, at that point you might as well just do it by group. You can tell if it wants to be in a specific group, and then from here, action, you're going to tell it what this command does. Well, this is the command that's going to test. Once we have the test action, you can also set a cooldown for global, so, you know, global and user depending. So say Kaylin can only do this every, you know, 10 seconds kind of thing. That's just all that is. I don't want to time myself out on that one. But you see I have it there. I make sure the exclamation point, make sure you have some kind of exclamation point or symbol at the start. Otherwise, every time somebody types this word in chat, it will go through. It will go through, and there's no real way to stop it. So you want to make sure there's some kind of, there's something there. So once we have that, we just say, okay. You can see right here, we have test. So now if I come over to chat, which I will drag that over here a little bit on screen. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, look, it's all of you. We're going to type in !test. And you see my bot here, Sleep Paralysis Westy, says this is a test. Infinite screen. But you see how that one worked. So now that that is there, that is the action, the command that's going to trigger this action every single time. And we can change that. We can add to it now that we have that. So I want this is a test followed by, it's going to press the, where is the space bar? Space bar. I'm going to press the space bar, but I don't want it to play at the same time. I want to throw a delay in there, and the delay is in milliseconds. It gets confusing because there's a section where it's milliseconds and there's a section where it's regular seconds. So I want 5 seconds, which would be 5,000. I want 5 seconds, and I want to put it between these two. So the test message goes off. It's going to wait 5 seconds, and it's going to press the space bar. So we're going to go back to infinite screen here. You can see it in chat. So I'm going to do test again. Test. This is a test message. It's going to wait 5 seconds. And then, see, it did a space bar between the two Fs here. And I didn't have to edit the command function at all. So now that is just there. Every time I type in test, it just does that. From there, if we want to make this voice activated, which I know this is what a lot of people are asking me, there's literally a voice control option. You want to go into your settings, you want to make sure that you auto start listen is on. Your language is set to local, US. Confidence threshold 0. Basically, when it's said, it's going to trigger, but oh yeah, and your input device is whatever your input device is. So we come back to commands. We have my list of commands here. I'm going to add a new one for test. That's the name. And for the actual command, if I say test, I'm not creative. And the action will be test. Now that's in there and it's connected. So again, if I bring this back over and I do AS and I say test. Didn't pick it up that time, hang on. Test. Oh, there it is. It actually did. Hey! It was just too small for me to see. So you see how that works. It does it every time, but it won't do it every time I say the word test in a sentence. It's because it knows the command only. It only knows the word test. It doesn't know test with anything else. So I have to not say anything else for about 1 to 2 seconds. Test. Longer. Test. There it is. So that's basically how this works. Voice control is easy. You just have to make sure that your command is set up exactly how you want it. So if I want my death counter, I have to say the whole command, sleep paralysis WSD death count, and then it will give me the command. And I can't say anything before or after that. So the voice control is really, really easy to set up. It's just very, very, very particular. Like, I think the hardest part of that is triggering it based on how you're talking. You can set it up for almost any action. I will say, don't use it for shoutouts because of Twitch usernames. It will not get the right person 90% of the time. It will misspell it just because it's Twitch. Try saying, you know, shout out Kalen Roar. Shout out Delos of Dice. Shout out Ella Dritch. It just doesn't pick that up because it's not in its dictionary. Unfortunately, you can't really train it that easily yet. This is still beta. This is version 0.1.10, so it's doing its best. Now, for everything else, let's see. Say you want to do here. Say you want to make it into a new long. A new text right here. I'll get rid of this one because I was messing with that earlier. So I want to throw in an image. I'm actually going to try to hide this off screen because I don't know what will pop up. All right. So I want to throw in do an ew face. I like an ew face. That's a big ass ew face. Hold on. Go. Okay, now that I got that sorted. So we have a ew face right here, right? And I want that to pop up with the text. Text. That's fine. I want it to say ew. Too much ew. Yeah, it's gonna say ew. I need to change that color really quick. That is not very well visible. Color. Let's do. Oh, penny. Oh, I fucked up. Multiply. Was it color multiply? There it is. Color multiply. Click the wrong one. So I was just gonna say ew going into the ew face like that. We have that set up. I want to grab both of these. So now we have our group here of ew. It's the text and it's the ew face, right? We have both of those. What we do is we come back here. We are going to add a new sub action, OBS. We are going to, you know what? Here, let's do this. Say you wanted to shout somebody out. So, you want to shout somebody out. It kind of gives you a little bit of the variable here. They have a whole Wikipedia on it. So if you want to shout somebody out, it's a lot of the variables are percentile sign. So target user, or even just like bits. It's literally just bits, and that will show up as the bit amount. There's a whole Wikipedia on that for whatever you need, but you can change it using that. I don't want to change it. I just want it to say EU when it pops up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to OBS, and I'm going to, where'd it go? Set visibility state. My source is EU. I want it to be visible when this triggers. It's going to send a message saying this is a test. It's going to do all this. We're going to add another set source visibility state, but I want it to be invisible as well. Now that is for EU, the whole EU. So if I were to test, and then it's gone, because it just set the source visibility to invisible. If I do it again, test, it's now visible. It's visible for 5 seconds, hits the space bar, and then it goes away. You can set that up just like that with any image. You can set up with GIFs. You can actually go into your OBS and say, well, I want to see it, and then I want this to do weird shit. Ugh, too big. I want it to scroll for whatever ungodly reason. No, I want it to scroll off screen, actually. Hold on. I want you to scroll down. For 5 seconds, it's just going to do that. Alright, so now if I set it back to where it was. Ew. Wait, not you. Test. Forgot my own commands for a second. You see it's still scrolling. So, you can kind of see how that works there. So now I have the voice control set up for test. It literally just, the name is test, the command is test. Its action is the test action that we set up over here. And that will just show the words, the face. It will play for 5 seconds, it'll press the space bar, and then it will go away. So it happens every time. Test. See? Gonna hit the space bar. Just like that. And let's say we have this, and now I want, for whatever ungodly reason, I want that to be what plays whenever somebody follows or there's a raid. Well, you would actually go to the Platforms tab here. Events. And you can kind of see they have the follows and the cheers and all that here. So general is follows. You can get alerts if you get whispered. I don't know why you'd want that. Every time someone sends a chat message, you can set something. That sounds like hell. If somebody, it's their first time chatter, you can do that. But yeah, if you click on this, it kind of gives you a little bit more information on the user's name, or the user's Twitch ID. I don't know why you'd want the user's Twitch ID. That's really fucking weird, but you can get that. So I can just click this, and instead of it being my follower, it is now test. So every time someone follows, it's going to pop up and say ew and have a rotating ew face, which is probably not the best way to greet somebody. So let me put that back before I forget. I will forget. And same thing, you can do it to subs. So my new sub will go to the new sub action, and my events are here. So you see it's like new sub, same thing. And it's the actions where it will change the text to thank you user, because that's the variable for embracing the madness. And you have to set it for each scene. So this is for the just chatting scene here, and then this one is for the in-game scene. So they're both literally the exact same thing, but you have to set the source for each scene. That's why it's doubled up. If you don't do that, it'll only play for the one scene you have it set, and you can't copy that over. It also plays a sound. That's my Gary subscribe sound. It will then go to hidden, and I put a delay on it because I did not understand action cues at first, which I don't need anymore. Thank you. But coming back to platforms, like I said, this kind of has all of your different things on there. You can set these basically anything. You can even set it to where it's like tier specific, so you can set your Twitch Prime specific, your tier 1s, your tier 2s, your tier 3s, the cumulative subscriptions, a range of resubs, like how many months in a row somebody's been resubbed. So if I look at my resub, I actually have it set in the, yeah, right here. So user has been subbed for this many months in a row. And then back to platforms. You can also, how I do the spacebar thing for the 100-bit cheers, it's actually cheer ranges. So you see I have one for 100, which is spacebar, so every 100 bits hits the spacebar. And every 2,000 bits it hits Alt F4. You can add in a new range, basically whatever you want. You can set it to be anonymous or non-anonymous, or either. You can kind of get that set up. You can also, this is the kind of cool thing here, it can control your channel points. But it can only control your channel points that you make in here. So if you have, you can see these, it says owned. That means all of these were not made on StreamerBot. But you can actually make your own channel redeems here. So you can put the title, if it's enabled, you can pause it, how much it costs, if user input is required, so somebody has to type something in, what the prompt is, like basically what it is. Does it skip the queue, or do you have to wait in line? How many can be done per stream, or how many a user can do it per stream, or what the cooldown is. And you can put it in a group if you want. If you do that, the cool thing is you can actually tie it to something else. So you can do that and then tie that to the spacebar. So when somebody redeems the channel point, it'll hit the spacebar. God forbid it does Alt F4. So you can make channel points in here also activate keyboard functions and basically anything else. But it has to be made in StreamerBot, because otherwise it's not owned. So if I want to edit my nya, I can't. It's grayed out. Twitch controls this. I can, however, still put it on spacebar if I want. I just can't edit the cost. I can't pause it. I can't manipulate this in any way. It's just, it's here. It's stuck here. You can also do your polls from here, your predictions. There's a whole section for YouTube. I don't stream on YouTube, so I haven't even messed with this one. Godspeed, whoever does test that one out. You know what, let me cover action cues really quick. They're pretty important. So the reason why action cues are important, I have 3. And what these are when somebody follows or somebody gift subs, it's going to go through the default. So the default here, it's, yeah, if I click here, you see the queue is set to default. So if I have somebody do 10 gift subs right now, all 10 of those would play more or less at once. And the way I stop that to keep, 10 Garys from screaming at me, that's an image. So the reason that's not happening is because if you right-click the default, you put blocking. So only one can go through at a time. It'll go to pending, it'll complete, and it's done. So it blocks it. So you can't have all 10 subs going off at once with like 5 follows. It's going to make it wait in line, which is why you have the pending actions tab. You'll see a list of it if you do have a long line. You can make a whole nother queue, which I did for test. Test is now more or less what I use for raids. That's completed action 1. So if you come back and you look at my event raid, it's actually under the test queue because there is no delay on that. So every time there's a raid, if I get 3 raids in a row, it's going to do raid after raid, even if the other one is still going. It's just going to overlap it a little bit, but it's going to move it slightly down. And the reason I have that is because I don't want to miss a raid. I don't want to miss a raid because somebody followed. Oh, thank you for your follow. And I look back at whatever I'm doing and it waits 5 seconds. And now the chat is full of like 10 people saying, you know, hey, hello, this raid. And I don't acknowledge them for that amount of time. And then it goes off and I'm like, oh crap, let me scroll back up. Who are you people? How'd you get in here? I don't want that. So that just plays on its own. And then the death commands, my death actions, that is their own as well, because if I died and somebody followed, the death command would have to wait to go through the default as well. So same thing, if I'm playing Dark Souls and I die 5 times, but somebody came in and did 20 gift subs, I would have to wait for all 20 gift subs to go through for it to register 1 death. So you don't want that. It's better just to make 2 or 3 and put blocking on, so everything that you want in a queue, like follow, subs, bits, it's going to go through one by one, and then it's going to trigger. That's just what the action queues are for. If all of your notifications are going off all at once, that's how to stop it. There is integrations. Again, if you're using Streamlabs, stop. Get OBS. It's so much better. Now, isn't OBS harder to use? No. It looks harder to use, and it's just because you have to kind of do a little bit more work. So Streamlabs is like, oh yeah, you just click this and you're good. Problem is, Streamlabs has been very sketchy. They've been more or less secretly charging people. They've been stealing all their stuff. It's not a good company. Not a good company at all. So there is a stream elements. This is where my my notification comes up for tips and whatnot. You can also include your merchandise. I don't go through stream elements for merch though, so I'm not going to do that. I can add in voice mod connectivity, so if I'm really dedicated, I could do this. So every time you do MewWoo, it'll just do it on its own. And I would have no idea unless I set up a sound alert that the MewWoos were coming, and my voice would just change on the spot. There's also other things for the donor drive, pulsoid, hype rate, tippy, treat stream, things like that. You can set all that up there. There is also, was it settings? There is also a built-in sub counter. So you could totally have a sub counter built in. And what would happen here is literally enable it, reset to 0. You can set whatever the rollover is going to be. And if you're having a subathon, you can just let this keep track of it. It will write it to a file. I don't care if you can see my download thing there. It'll write it to a file, and you basically just back into actions. Oh, sub action. Over. You'd basically just bring it in from the file here. Read lines from file. And then you'd make that visible up on screen. So you can easily have a sub goal on your channel just with that. And if it rolls over, if you meet your sub goal, so say you want 50 subs, you hit 50 subs, you can have like a celebration action go off right then. Pyramids, literally just emote pyramids. minimum width to start it, and then what happens if you get it. You can have like a little party. You can save your credits, so every time there's follows or subs, gift subs, it'll save whoever did that. So if you swap over to another screen with this active, it'll kind of go through like Star Wars credits and thank everyone. Timed actions. These are literally the timers. I've disabled all of them for now, but they are timed actions. It's so I want my reminder this is an 18 plus only stream to go off every 4,000 seconds. This is where it turns into seconds instead of milliseconds, so keep an eye on that. I want it to go off every 4,000 seconds to 5,000 seconds, and I set it to random. So between this amount of time, it will go off. 5 people have to type in chat before this will go off. And you literally just pick the action, 18 plus, set it to repeats, you would enable it, and it would just kind of go off. You can see here, none of them are enabled right now. I'll turn them back on later. And you can set that for all of them. The death reminder, see how bad I am at this game. The merch link will pop into chat every 3,800 seconds to 4,800 seconds, and 33 people have to type in chat before it'll do that. So it's things like that. That's what timed actions are. You can put everything into groups if you want to make it easier to manage. I don't do that because I'm a psychopath. Your audio output device, if you want it to be separate audio so you can kind of split it, you can do that. You can also set hotkeys. I don't do hotkeys. I like to use the voice control more than anything, obviously, because it's much easier. Now, once we kind of get all of that, you can kind of see the standard commands are mostly just send Twitch a message. That's all it does. It sends it to the Twitch chat. But the shout out command, there's a special one, add target info from input. So what that does is literally if I hit the shout out button or somebody does a shout out, it's whatever name they type in, it's going to yoink their Twitch name. It's going to give all the love to that user that was specifically typed out, and then what game they were vibing to. And then same thing, drop them a follow at Twitch and their name here, and it will put the info in there for you. That makes things nice and easy. You can set that to a hotkey and just kind of go from there. Makes it a lot easier too. But again, unless you set it up to last raider, it's just going to grab somebody random. You want to make sure you're very specific about it. Let me see. The death counter does get a little bit more complicated. Shoutouts to Professor Tiberius for this one, because he set this one up. So if I were to double click this death counter, you can see it actually adds the target info from the broadcaster. It'll execute the death code, which is literally a C executable code, because this will specifically get from the game that I'm playing in the category. So if I'm in Dark Souls and I die 10 times, and then I swap over to Sekiro and I die 5 times, that counter is only going to count 5 deaths for Sekiro, but it still saves the 10 deaths from Dark Souls. Saves it here. Very useful. And then, of course, the death is literally just, it adds from the death code here, death plus game equals true. Sends a message in chat, how I just died in game, however many times. It sets the global death counter. It increases it by 1. And then just total death counter. So you can see the death counters themselves are a lot more complicated because it's actually doing... it's actual coding going through. And you can see, now, what's really, really important, if you have multiple scenes, you see I have a scene for chatting. I have a scene for chatting. I have a scene for gaming. They're separate here. And if I want this raid notification to go off on both, I have to set this up independently on both. So on each of those, I more or less have things copied over. So I have things copied over into their own groups on there. Just like I have my U group here, they're on there as well. So you can see on this one, it's just chatting, raid, user is bringing this many souls into the madness, but then also it's playing it at the exact same time in my game scene. It's playing it twice. You only see and hear one though, because that's what scene is currently active. It'll turn visible right here. So you want the text to change before it's visible. So make sure that's in the right order. I want it to say, you know, Seth brought in all of her viewers, and then show them, hey, Seth brought in all their viewers, right? Right here. So visible on both. It plays a sound so it alerts me. It waits 4 seconds, and then it hides both of them on both. It waits 10 seconds, and it drops the raid message for, you know, new raiders coming in, right? That's just the key point there. Multiple scenes, you have to have multiple sub-actions for each scene, if it's the same. And that really stopped me for a while, because I did not realize that. I did not realize that was the mistake that I was making, and I got stuck for a while. Same thing, you can actually set a raid message. So your raid message here, like I want this to be my raid going out. It does the Westy raid grenades, chaos raid, and I went under platform, raid, and see sending raid. The start is it's going to send out the raid message. You can also, if you cancel it, you can have like a message be like, oh, never mind. Or once it, I don't know what the point of it sending. Oh, I guess when it send, it'll send a message. I can send a message to somebody else's chat at the end of it. I don't ever have to do that again. Hold on. Anyway, now that I've done that, so you can have it set to do that. Nice and easy. You can also set up your hosts here. So host, what happens when somebody hosts is very simple. It just says, you know, this target user info is being a host madness. Once you get all of your actions set up, you can see I have a lot. I have all these different ones. For a little bit, everything. The bits redeems, my standard commands, the song, which song is also under voice control now. So I can do song. It tells you what the last song that was played was, which was requested by Orange Lock. And it's the City Pop Lover, Henry, I Can't Stop the Lonely. Oh, God. All right. That was there. Cool. You can set all that up. You just have to make sure it's an action here first. If it's this action, it does not have to be a command. The command is for what you type in chat. Voice control will just trigger, you know, whatever this is. So you don't have to do all these different commands I have on here. These are all chat commands right here. But these are voice commands. So these work the same as this, if that makes sense. These are the same. One is just typing, one is using your voice. But if you get all of these set up, what you always want to do, there's a save button up here. Of course, click that. But you always want to export. You want to export everything that you want to keep. Of course, you can right-click and select all actions. You just get them all. Get all your commands too. Make sure you have both of these. And you want to export them to a file. Now, it comes up, it's just like a text file, and it specifically... Hang on, everything here. Ah, there it is. It comes up as this kind of text file here. And the reason you want to do that is because if you ever lose this, you can hit import, and you see it says import string. If I took all of this and I Control A, Control C, and I paste it in here, look, there's all my 60 actions and my 30 commands right there. I can just get them all back. No problem. So if something happens, I don't lose all of this work. And it even keeps the queues. So the death queue and the test queue is back as well. So always export this to a file and keep the file somewhere safe. That being said, if say I have this death counter and AFK really wants this death counter, I can say, okay, here you go, I'll just give you the death counter. I can do all that and then hit export to clipboard, and then I could paste this over. So if I paste over, AFK can go, oh yay, look, the death counter. And now she has it. Yeah, so if somebody manages to do something like that, you can just nab it from them. Very, very useful for sharing the cool things you can make here. And you can do that with any command. Always make sure that you export. Saving, again, if something goes wrong, saving's not guaranteed to keep everything, right? It's just not. It's not a good fail-safe on that. The servers and clients doesn't really matter. Just make sure your WebSocket server... No, wait. Yeah, this one is set to auto start, because this has to start every time it connects to OBS. Otherwise, you're going to have to come in and start server manually. So just make sure that's auto checked. I think it is by default. Maybe. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it is, though. And then... yeah, from there, that's basically all of it. I'm making sure real quick, because like I say, you do your polls and predictions from here too. And you can actually set these to action, so if you create a poll, or if it gets locked or resolved, or gets canceled, it does different actions. And then the stream apps is just connecting to OBS. The integrations are things like voice mod, which you can have trigger based on redeems. I may set that to MuWoo, so small voice will be activated without me knowing it. That should be fun. The rest of these I don't use. The voice control is pretty standard. Hotkeys, if you use hotkeys. Now, I know not everyone has one, but I cannot recommend it enough. If you have a Stream Deck, this thing is amazing. So, the reason I'm going to bring this up is because they actually have a StreamerBot plugin. I'll put the link to the plugin somewhere. You can download it, and you can see, take that. I had the test command there I was playing with earlier, and you can say, well, I want this to trigger the test action. You can give it a title, pull the title by itself. So then if I hit the test button, it just goes through on its own. So if you don't want to do the voice control for whatever reason, you can do that. Make sure the spacebar goes off. You can set that there. And you can see it does it for literally any command. This is where the commands are. So every single command I have, you can just trigger it. It's pretty neat. Again, I always recommend Stream Decks. It's such a worthwhile investment just from the versatility you have. If you're a VTuber, of course, we have the model changes and whatnot, so I can literally see. It doesn't take a hotkey. I don't have to use a hotkey on my keyboard at all. It just pulls it straight out of VTube Studio. So useful. Now, there is one issue that I ran into, and it's a really, really easy fix. So, the issue I was running into was, where'd it go? All of my actions and all of my commands were not being saved. So every time I would start StreamerBot, I would have to go in, I'd have to import my saved things twice. I had to keep going into it and putting all this back. The first 2 times I had to remake all 60 of these. I was not happy. And I was getting to the point where I was like, fuck it, this sucks. Professor Tiberius popped in and was like, hey, can we check something really quick? If you hit start and you click File Explorer Options, this option right here, hide extensions for known file types, Apparently what happens is StreamerBot gets confused, and if it thinks that if your computer thinks that the file type, you know, is known, it's going to hide the extension, and StreamerBot can't find the settings extension if it does that. And so it thinks there are no actions or commands. But if you don't hide it like that, leave it unchecked, it doesn't hide it from StreamerBot, and it can always find it. I think that's something that's fixable on their end. But if you have that issue, that is how you fix it. I know it was something that was really infuriating me, and I couldn't figure out why, and like I couldn't find anything online about it. That's the fix right here. So that's about everything to do with StreamerBot. And since it does have the integration for Stream Deck, it can also kind of interact with that. Very, very, very useful here. Bonus chapter, bonus to that. Hey, everyone, did you know about this? If you have OBS up right here, and you go to Tools, did you know there's a scripts option? Yeah, scripts option. So if you have a script, there's an auto starter. So every time I open OBS, it starts my TTS, and it starts my Twitch integrated throwing system. And I can also put another one in there to make it auto start StreamerBot. It can auto start anything you want. You just have to have a different script for everyone. I have a copy of this script, which I will be throwing in the Discord. I'll put it under Streamer Research if I haven't already. You can use it for any program, so it's very, very useful. Like I said, I got tits on here, and I have my StreamerBot text-to-speech. I don't think anyone needs a StreamerBot text-to-speech tutorial at the moment. We'll see. We'll see what is demanded of during this. But yes, I do have this. It's basically just a script. It's not the Python settings. Fuck that. I do have that. I can throw in the script into the Streamer Research in the Discord. So yeah, very, very useful, especially if you have like 4 programs that have to run with OBS. Like VTube Studio, Tits, StreamerBot, the text-to-speech option, voice mod. All of that can be started with just one script, or with just the script. And then you can set it to auto-close when OBS quits. So if you close OBS, it'll all close with it. So you don't have to like go through and close all your programs anymore. It's very, very useful just to kind of bring everything all up at once, and you're done streaming, close it down, it's all done. Click of a button, easy. That'll be in the Discord for anyone who wants it. Make sure I'm closing the right thing there. It's like, don't close OBS! Very useful thing to just have at the ready, though. I think that about covers most of it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment down below. There is also going to be a link to the Discord in the description. So if you'd like to hop in there, if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help out. And I'm also going to plug my socials in there because why not? So that's going to be it for me. Have an amazing night, everyone. I will see you all next time. Bye.